Hi, it's Christina. I know, you always see me outside, like bundled up, right? Walking the frozen tundra, right? I am in the Colorado, these are the foothills, and the sun is like right in my eyes to show you those wonderful hills. So I have to turn this way. I have told you that real estate is the ticket, really. It has been the thing that hits all the four qualifiers for me to be the best investment. And how we started out was super, super simple. And I kind of think of it as like a daisy chain. I don't know if you are children of the 70s or an electrician, but essentially you're just like chaining one thing to another, and you just do one at a time. And before you know it, you have this thing linked up, right? And it started with one. So for us, I was in college. We got married. I was 19 years old and my husband was 24, and he was the only one working, and I was in college, and I should say he was the only one working for an income, right? We know how that is. I was working. I was going through the summer. I was going through breaks. I was dedicated to being done in 4 years. And I did, thank goodness. We were able to buy property because he had a W-2 income, right? He worked for a traditional employer. He worked for the man. And because he worked for the man, he had this little thing called a W-2 at the end of the year. And lenders love that. And so we bought our first property, and it was a short sale. It had not gotten to the bank yet. It was a short sale, so we had to go through the negotiation process. It was a piece of crap. And we spent 2 years fixing it up, working our nights, working our weekends. This was before we had kids, so we had a little bit more time, but we didn't know we had all this extra time because we didn't know what kids actually did to like evaporate your time. So at that point, we're just like shoving it into the nooks and crannies of our life, just doing the bathroom remodel, or doing the kitchen floor, or getting new appliances. We just saved up as much as we could. We purchased things for cash. We did the work ourselves. Luckily, my husband is super handy. He worked at that time in the construction industry, and so he had a lot of know-how, and he had the muscle to actually get behind it and do those things. And I was the design person, and I was the visionary. I was the balloon floating up into the sky, and he was my string tethering me down to the ground, right? We all need one of those. And so after 2 years, we had an opportunity where the project he was working at, they offered us to purchase one of the new construction homes. And it was surprisingly in our budget. And so we're like, heck yeah. And so at that point, we sold that little place, that starter place that we bought on a short sale. We sold it, and at that time, it was like 2004, and we rolled in 50 grand. And we're like, hey, this is pretty sweet. We get to I don't know, at that point, he's making maybe $35,000 a year, and all of a sudden we get to roll $50,000 into our new home, and we don't have to pay taxes on it because we lived at the old place for 2 years of the last 5. And so the federal government gives us a tax break and says, hey, you lived in as your personal residence, so you get to pretty much have those proceeds tax free. And we're like, yes, and we're gonna do this every 2 years for the rest of our life. Well, P.S. until we can pay our house off, or pay for our house in cash, and then we don't have to do it for the rest of our lives. So that was the birth of our initial financial plan, and we just daisy chained it. Every 2 years, we bought the biggest piece of crap in the best neighborhood we could afford. And we tried to get like one bathroom in the kitchen done before we moved in. And then we'd move in. Sometimes we didn't have that luxury, and we just made it happen, right? And then we would work really hard those 2 years, and then we would sell it, and then we would move on. And then we got an opportunity to buy a place. It was another huge piece of crap, but we weren't willing to live in that area. But we thought, this has some really great rent. Like, we could buy it for $80,000 and we can rent it for $1,100. Like, that's good news every day of the week and twice on Sundays, right? And so then we started our rental real estate journey. And I'm going to tell you more about that. I'm not sure when. It may not be tomorrow. I'm not sure. Just depends on, the weather out here. And it's freezing cold, but I'm like sweating. Have you ever had that? It's just awkward. And then you just take off, you start disrobing in the middle of the frozen tundra. And then your neighbors are like peeping out their windows at you. And anyway, it's fun times. So stay tuned. I keep saying that. I need to find a new phrase. I will. Do your thing. If you want to hear more, like, subscribe, ring the bell. Leave a comment. Please be nice. I do have a tender heart. I'm a mom. I'm a woman. We're relationally wired. We get really bummed when people say crappy stuff. So be kind. And until then, until I see you or talk to you again, be decent. Stay classy. Bye.